if you are very sensitive to certain issues in the world of sports and beyond, this probably isn't going to go well for you over the next several minutes.
No, it's not. I mean, I would say in general, if you're just sensitive, it's not going to go well for you. Yeah.
So away we go. Aaron Rodgers appeared.
Sensitive to getting jabbed, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers appeared on the Pat McAfee show with Pat and AJ Hawk, and he obviously first public appearance outside of the post game comments since the Packers lost to the 49ers, which, by the way, tip of a cap, thank you to the Green Bay Packers for that. That was the one loss in my 4-leg parlay. Appreciate it, though. Thank you so much. Appreciate that opportunity to win big money, but apparently minus 5.5 was way too much with that special teams unit. But never mind all that. He talked with the guys about his situation and why he felt like so many people were celebrating the loss of the Green Bay Packers. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the sound for you here. This was Aaron Rodgers' response. And then I have a fun little game show on the other side of this sound for Brady Quinn here, a little multiple choice game. So let's go ahead and hear Aaron Rodgers explain why he thinks people were so happy they lost.
There were a ton of people tuning in, rooting against us for one reason and one reason only. It's because of, my vaccination status and them wanting to see us lose so they could pile on and enjoy and revel in the fact that, my vaccination status was, some sort of reason why we haven't had success in the playoffs or whatever it might be, some sort of correlation.
All right, so Brady Quinn. It is game show time here on Fox Sports Radio. Always a fun game with Brady Quinn. We are going to do a multiple choice game here live on the air. So if you're hanging around, you can play the at-home version here.
Ooh, there we go.
This is the game. All right, so Aaron Rodgers said, basically to sum up his comments on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, that people were happy about the loss of the Green Bay Packers and celebrating it because of his outspoken stance on his vaccination status. All right, so here is the question we have for you, and I have an envelope put to the side with the correct answer inside. So, Brady Quinn.
Yes.
Was Aaron Rodgers telling the truth? Your options are A, yes, B, absolutely, C, F yeah, or D, all of the above.
Oh, okay. This is a tough one because I feel like given his personality, it could be any one of the first three. I'm going to go with D, all of the above,
all right.
Just depending on the mood and if he's, cliff jumping in Hawaii during the offseason or if he's, during the season and he's just on the Pat McAfee show. It could be any one of those. Right, so I'm going to go with D, all of the above.
All right, so let's see. So, again, the question was, is Aaron Rodgers telling the truth that people were celebrating the Packers' loss because of his vaccination status? Let's open the envelope here live on the air. That is correct. Brady Quinn, you have won. Was Aaron Rodgers telling the truth on the Pat McAfee show, game show here on FSR? That is correct. 100% correct. Congratulations,
I want to thank my parents. I want to thank God. I want to thank my little league coach who got me started in the first place. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you. Yeah.
The Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, Heisman Trophy finalist, and he won.
That's a heavy trophy, by the way.
It is. I wouldn't know. And he won Was Aaron Rodgers telling the truth? He's absolutely telling the truth. And anybody in denial of this saying, oh, no, he's just playing the victim. No, you're a tool. The coverage of Aaron Rodgers was done by a bunch of tools who have an agenda going into this, and they were rooting against him and sitting on bad comedy tweets that they had in their drafts folder waiting for them to lose if they were going to lose in the playoffs. 100% he's telling the truth.
I would say this. I don't think Aaron Rodgers was outspoken at all about his vaccination status until he had to be. Remember, he said he was immunized, and then obviously the media was like, oh, okay, well, I guess no one knows what that means. Let's not ask a follow-up question.
Right.
And then once he ends up being positive and the whole protocol, everything else that came along with it, people were questioning then what protocols was he following. as a vaxxed or unvaccinated player, which, by the way, did you notice how that doesn't really matter anymore in the NFL?
Yeah, nobody seems to be testing positive now. Why is that?
Well, no one seems to be testing positive, along with the fact that the CDC just came out with a report saying basically natural immunity was 6 times stronger against the Delta variant, which is the predominant variant.
Hey, don't say that out loud. You're not supposed to say that out loud. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and then that, along with everything else that the Omicron has led them to believe, unvaccinated players, how they shed the proteins. So let's not get into the science of it because it's not going to back those people. But he wasn't outspoken until he had to be because the media didn't do their job in the first place. And then when people asked him to be honest and open, he was honest and open with you. He just happened to take a different stance or disagree with you. And then that's where you drew this line in the sand and said, no, he's on that side, I'm on this side. That's what we've become in this country. Like somehow we've gotten to a point where we can't just agree to disagree.
100%.
Like it's like, oh my God, like you like vanilla, I like chocolate. What's wrong with that? Like ice cream's still good. It's just you like a different flavor than I like. Like it's just the whole thing is so dumb
racist.
to me.
I agree. Well, that is racist.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what
racist
that
ice
means.
cream take.
What?
Yeah.
I like chocolate.
You? All right.
I love chocolate.
All right. Shout out Lee.
Well, Lee likes Neapolitan. He likes to have the multiple flavors in one box.
Yeah,
that's what he told me at least.
Yeah,
so.
A little Neapolitan joke on a Wednesday. There it is, Lee.
The truth is, he's right though. There are people who root against him purely because of what became public about his vaccination status. There's beliefs in all of that. And look, right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't know that anyone really cares because he's getting compensated well. He's in the position he's in. And I always felt like when you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, that's kind of part of the paycheck is the criticism that you receive is part of why you're being compensated as much. It's not just the physical talents and what you can do. It's having to handle the pressure, having to handle everything that comes along with that. That is oftentimes, especially in bad times, receiving flack or receiving, having to deal with people rooting against you. So I fully agree. There is a group of people out there rooting against him that was looking forward to him losing and then saving all this ammunition up for this moment. And there's probably 49ers fans who felt that way. But as we said yesterday, you nerds, because the second he would sign with the San Francisco 49ers, you'd be celebrating him.
Oh, my God.
You'd be celebrating him. So stop trying to throw out all these San Francisco in the playoffs, all this, because you would take him in a heartbeat on your team, on your roster.
But this goes, all they're doing, the coverage of Aaron Rodgers, all that's happening is that you're proving him right. Because I remember, so he never, from my understanding, he never really had a trust to the media. And there was a story that came out where he was doing a sit-down interview with Mina Kimes of ESPN. She does a great job. And they were doing an interview and she was writing an article. And the first thing he did was, put his phone on record.
Start recording.
Yeah, because he wanted to make sure that the truth was being told and nothing got taken out of context. And it was like, okay, well, going into it, that was his opinion of the media because he had probably gotten burned one time or another. The coverage of him and his family, like his relationship with his family, which is the most mind-boggling thing that's any of our business, what his situation is like with his family, what his relationship is like with his brother or his parents, all that stuff. And so going into it, he always seemed like he had his guard up when it came to the media, and he was very sort of standoffish. And then he starts doing these weekly hits with A.J. Hawk and Pat McAfee, and they're fantastic. Right. And the coverage of him was so biased and so slanted by the national media that then Pat McAfee and A.J. Hawk started getting heat for it. Like, you couldn't go near him because it was like, he was combustible. Like, stay away, guys. If you're near Aaron Rodgers, everybody's going to get pushback. When we've defended him on this show, we've gotten pushback from people. So going into it, he had this opinion of the media, and all that they've done is prove him right so far throughout this season and how the coverage has gone in his direction.
You and I have talked about this time and time again because it leads to a bigger discussion that players have the power, have the platforms to go ahead and speak out on their own, and they don't have to go to an interview with you anymore. And I think it frustrates reporters. It frustrates people in the national media because their job becomes obsolete. If I can go on a weekly radio show and say everything that I want to say and I don't have to really deal with the question from people who don't know me or people that I want to have to deal with. You can do that as an athlete now.
Yep.
You can put out stuff on Twitter or any other social media platform for that matter, and that's what those people who wish they could ask you those questions, those reporters, those writers, that's what they have to go off of. People like us in the radio industry. We then have to, speak or talk about the things that were tweeted, the things that were said via something else. And for people who have been in the media for a long period of time, the last 2 decades have probably been a really tough transition for them because it goes from them having a personal relationship with athletes to really not knowing them at all. And I think that's created a bigger divide in the opinions, meaning when something like this happens with the whole vaccination status and him saying immunized, there's not that personal relationship where someone was like, hey, I didn't understand this. Can you explain this to me? Or what does that mean? And maybe they would have handled it differently. It wouldn't have been as harsh. That's not the case anymore. People have no personal relationship with him as much, or many athletes for that matter, so they take stronger stances one way or another, knowing they don't have to face the repercussions.
Yeah.
That's the reality of today's media. And I think it's, to your point, it's proven his point that there are some people who are loaded up who want to be against him purely for something that has nothing to do with football or his play on the football field. And furthermore, it adds to the fact that it's jealousy. It's a bunch of media members who are jealous from the fact that they don't get to have the opportunity to hear from that MVP in back-to-back years now of the NFL, the biggest sports league in all of sports.
Yeah.
They don't have the ability to control that narrative, to help push out that narrative. He does it himself. And that is something that takes away power from them, that power, as they used to say, of the pen. Like, that was the one thing as an athlete you always felt like you had to mind your P's and Q's because the media held that over your head. They had the power of the pen. And you felt like if I just handle myself professionally and if I say and do the right things, even in bad moments, they'll treat me with more respect. Maybe it won't have quite as much of a punch to it. But now that's gone. I mean, because there is no pen anymore, man. There's no newspaper. There's nothing.
It's too bad. What a bummer. I miss the pen. I miss the pencil more. But, at least we're not trying to, pull any shenanigans like Matt Patricia. He's got laminate paper, but he's got a pencil behind his ear. What's that? Can you, make a call and find out what that is?
The interesting thing about him and the pencil is he used, a basic number 2.
Yeah.
And I was, at some point in my age, once you had the pencils you could load with lead – that had the little replaceable eraser on top. You really never went back to a wooden pencil because, you couldn't replace the eraser. You had to constantly shave it back down. And the ones that you could pump a little bit, just get the lead out, you could load that thing up with lead so you didn't have to worry about shaving your pencil down all the time.
And the pencil, too, what you were just talking about. And here's the thing. I would say underrated smell. We've talked about WD-40, gas. Underrated smell.
Say it.
Pencil shavings, right?
Yeah.
You open up one of those old school.
You could put that in a plastic bag, and I would just
That's not a fart sound. What is that, Roberto? Come on. Put some respect on the pencil shavings.
You guys don't enjoy your own farts sometimes?
No, listen, man. If they made a cologne for pencil shavings, and let me tell you something. Top 2, I don't know what the Mount Rushmore is of colognes that haven't been made that need to be made. It's Mount Rushmore, top 2 scents that have not been made into a cologne. Pencil shavings and tennis balls, brand new tennis balls.
Yeah, you pop that. I don't know, whatever gas is in there, it's probably not good for you.
It's probably not.
I used to smell that a lot when I was a kid.
Probably not. Why do you think Djokovic wasn't allowed to participate in the Australian Open?
I did have a lot of chili yesterday, so maybe Roberto was catching on to that.
Well, you also said you like Skyline chili, so once you say that, you're completely you're out.
I love Skyline chili.
All right, well, listen.
It's its own type of chili. Stop trying to.
Right.
Have you even tried it before?
Yes, I have.
Oh, when did you try it?
The great Andy Furman, Fox Sports Radio legend in the Cincinnati, Kentucky area, sent me Skyline chili in the mail.
Not the same. Not the same.
Well, listen,
you have to have it fresh. You have to sit at the counter where they come and you watch them pile on all the cheese on top. You have to experience it firsthand, get it hot, fresh, right out of whatever those.
You guys ever had Tommy's?
It's
Tommy's
not chunky
chili
enough.
Burgers?
Yeah, I've had Tommy's. You won't make it home if you have Tommy's. That's the problem.
Tommy's.
Yeah, Tommy's. It's a famous burger chain out here, Tommy's.
No one's even awake on the West Coast. If you've been anywhere out east, you've heard of White Castle. And I remember, like, White Castle, you can get, like, a whole slew of mini
Racist.
burgers.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you.
Oh, come on. That's the name of the, that's the, name of the
I
place.
appreciate
Why can't it be Brown Castle?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just telling you. Well,
Yeah.
one, I mean, it might be hard to see at night, but two, I mean, but no, the reality is it's called White Castle.
Yeah, little squares,
they sell,
right?
Yeah, they little square burgers. But my dad told me when I was young, he's like, "Hey, these are the best. You got to go try some." He's like, their nickname's called the Down and Outs. I'm like, was that a football reference? He goes, no. He goes, once they go down, they're coming out. He goes, that bathroom in the restaurant gets a lot of visitation.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
little chopper defecation joke here early on a Wednesday.
He was not lying too. Like, you eat one of those burgers, there better be a bathroom nearby, or you better be planning on stopping on the way home.